What is going on, everybody? And welcome back to the Kellycast Season 2, Episode 2. That's Mike. He's always in a different jersey. I'm Dan. Pleasure to have you back. Mike, the tagline for this season is, "This time, it's personal." And I've gotten a lot of questions over the last week about why is it personal? What does that mean? And it's very simple, okay? Mitchell Aloysius Smith III took our title from this house and is boasting it as he is the Kellycast prediction champion. And this year, I want to make it clear that it will not be an easy road. He will not go undefeated in the playoffs, hopefully. Let's hope not. And
undefeated was
impressive.
Crazy. Impressive.
And the title will be coming back home. So that's what this time is personal means. We got Mike here. How's it going, Mike?
It's going, man. It's a lovely Sunday in the afternoon that we're recording here. I had to think about what time it was.
We usually record at nights, so it is a little different. Obviously, you can't tell with the lighting we have. Yesterday, the Buffalo Bills did play their first preseason game at home against the Chicago Bears.
Yep.
Now, there was a lot of things about this game that are important, a lot of things that are not important, and people are kind of... When you look at Bills' social media as a whole, I think more often than not, people are exaggerating, how bad things are or how good things are, either or. And I try my best not to be in that camp.
It's for one, it's the first preseason game. The only reason that Josh even started at all was because him and his brand new receiver core need more reps together, clearly. Is it panic time? It's preseason number one.
Yeah, no. It's definitely not panic time, but there are things to discuss. There are things that need to be worked on. I'm going to start with the fact that this is a Sean McDermott Bills team, right? And we know a Sean McDermott Bills team and a Bills team of the past have so many differences, it's not even crazy, right? But one of those differences is Sean McDermott's team is physical. They fight. And yesterday, the Buffalo Bills got bullied off of their own field.
I thankfully did not get to watch any of the game because I was out having fun with the family, which seemed a whole hell of a lot more than watching a Bears team where I spent the summer making fun of Caleb Williams. Beat the hell out of the Bills 33-6. So,
well, let's talk a little bit about Caleb. Caleb had a good start. Of course, still preseason, still have to be wary of that. But in his first NFL action, that being in the preseason, he went 4 of 7 for 95 yards. People say, "Oh, he's on pace for 400 yards." Okay, shut up with that.
On pace for nothing because it's preseason, so calm down.
He had some good throws in there, especially a 3rd and 12 conversion where the Bills should have been able to make a stop, but they were not. Buffalo.
I did get to see a couple of the first plays of the game while I was standing in the line for 3 hours, but
it
was busy. It was busy, but he had some nice checkdowns. He looked pretty decent out there for,
He's going to be the best quarterback in Chicago Bears history after his first season. I think there's almost no doubt about it, and good for them. They deserve it. One thing that was different about yesterday's game was this was a preseason game. We all know that. We've discussed that. There was a big crowd for the Buffalo Bills in attendance. It was loud. The majority of the seats were packed, and I'm surprised because we've been to preseason games. We know how that crowd is. It's kind of, hey, we're not really here to watch the game. We're kind of here to have fun.
We're just here to buy the popcorn for $25 and the soda for $30.
At least the pizza was better last time.
Yes.
But this time they showed out, and the Bills just did deliver a stinker. Last year, the Kellycast had a segment that kind of died out during the season. I think it died out just because the Bills were playing so bad at the beginning of the year, and we had a tough time coming up with a player. But if you remember, the Kelly's knockout performance of the week we had last year. Where we would highlight multiple guys. Usually it would be 3 guys. We would go 3, 2, 1. I was trying to find a knockout performance for this week, Mike. And I'm looking at the stats, and I'm going through the box score. And I'm like, does anybody really deserve it? I'm looking at Mitch Trubisky. He had a solid game, 10 of 18 for 82 yards, no interceptions, no touchdowns. And then I keep scrolling. There was one player on defense I had thought about, and that's Kaiir Elam. Kaiir Elam not in the stat sheet for a lot, just 2 tackles, but I heard his name a lot, and he was around the football a lot. I seen a lot of effort plays from him.
Okay.
But ultimately, the Kelly's knockout performance of the week for week 1 in the preseason goes to Tyler Bass, who was perfect on the day. Obviously, only 2 for 2, but one of them was a 49-yarder in the wind where we saw the ball being took away from Mitch Trubisky when he was trying to lead it to his receivers. There was at one point he threw it to, I don't even know who it was. It was one of the tight ends, and they're going for it, and all of a sudden the wind takes it, and now the ball's behind him, and they couldn't make the catch.
Oh wow!
And Tyler Bass
was pretty windy yesterday.
Make a field goal through that. So with all the stuff that he's endured from the Bills fans, especially last year against the Chiefs, even in training camp this year, a lot of people have been discussing, hey, is Bass the answer? Is there a kicker competition? All this kind of stuff. I think he's well-deserved of the Kelly knockout performance of the week. The Bills had a putrid day of running the football. Their leading rusher on the day was third-string quarterback Shane, however you say his last name. 3 carries for 22 yards. Pitiful. Frank Gore Jr., 7 carries for 21. Mitch Trubisky, 3 for 12. Josh had the 1 scramble to get the first down. Overall, I thought the offensive line played terrible, whether you call them the starters, the backups, I don't care. They had a bad day, which they mentioned on the broadcast that the Chicago Bears had the number 1 rush defense in the league last year, so I'm not too angry about that.
All right. So everybody going back to talking about, people panicking and saying, this was just a horrible show out, right? Mm-hmm. A question that had been posed to me by a fellow collector, and he said, serious question. For an organization who's been so close to winning it all, what do you think it's going to take for us to get it done?
You watch Benchwarmer Brand's videos and you put the Chiefs in a cage and you lock it.
I love that answer.
If you've never seen his content, look him up. He's on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, all those things. But in all seriousness, I think, and it goes against popular belief, because one of my favorite analysts in the league right now is Kurt Warner. Mm-hmm. He does a lot of breakdowns of the quarterbacks, and he says that Josh Allen is at his best when he's not trying to play Superman and when he's not trying to put it all on his shoulders. I think Josh thrives in those moments. I think Josh knows that the weight of the world is on his shoulders. And in that playoff game against Kansas City, when he puts that pass on Stephon Diggs right in his chest and he drops it, and Allen is blamed for it, I get mad. I get angry. I get upset because Josh has these performances in these games. It's not going to be up to Josh Allen. That's what we need to come to grips with. The way the Bills are going to make it past the Kansas City Chiefs is by stopping Patrick Mahomes. And so far, that has proven to be an impossible task in the playoffs.
Okay.
That's my honest thought.
All right. I really didn't have an answer to that question because it's a pretty difficult.
It's loaded.
It's a loaded question. There's so many different ways you could go with it, and I don't know if my thoughts could keep up with my typing on something like that.
I mean, going back to questions that are kind of tough. I was watching the Rich Eisen show yesterday.
Okay.
And Rich Eisen, famous Jets fan, of course. He was discussing the Bills, and he was saying that he thinks he's higher on them than most. And he said that he doesn't think it's their division. So during the show, they went into the odds for the AFC East.
Okay.
Number 1 is a tie between the Bills and the Jets. Number 2 is the Dolphins.
Of course,
and
naturally.
Lastly is the Patriots. But the Dolphins deserve more respect, is my point.
I was going to say, why are they sleeping on the Dolphins? I mean, I think all this hype around a quarterback is insane who's aging. And clearly maybe getting a little brittle.
Hey, he made the top 100 players of the league with his 4 plays.
Well, so did Deion Dawkins, but he still got an 86 or 84 or 82 or whatever the hell in Madden. So
Madden is not the basis for conversations. I can promise you that.
Absolutely.
But going back to that question, Mike, I think it's not even how did the Bills get there. Right now, it's how do the Bills make the playoffs? It's how do the Bills, with a weaker wide receiver core, with a weaker team overall compared to last year, how do they win the division? Like, we're not even talking about Super Bowl yet. We can talk about Super Bowl in January, but right now, I just want to discuss the Buffalo Bills. And
we'll take you back to you said that Josh performs better when he has to be Superman. You in your feelings,
that's how I feel.
That's how you feel. Well,
I think it doesn't matter how you feel.
We'll see that because with this receiver core, he's going to have to play Superman an awful lot this year.
Yeah, I think so. But one of those receivers did show up yesterday. Curtis Samuel for the Buffalo Bills took a screen past 15 yards. You'll love to see it. I love when screens work.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, we are really bad at screens, but not on this attempt, and it worked out pretty well.
What about Connor McGovern? Do you have any concerns with him? I've even heard the guys on GR talking about him and his snaps, and I noticed that during that Bills practice that we went to, I said, I don't like the way he's snapping. He's not snapping the ball well.
I still think they're working on it. I don't know that McGovern's a lock at center. I don't know who would be. Maybe there's an option out there on another team that's not going to make it that would fit in well here. I'm not sure, but it's definitely a concern. I think with the way things were going, even I believe Alec Anderson was playing backup center yesterday, and he had a couple of snaps that I didn't like to Trubisky.
Okay.
So that means the first and the second option are not impressing. So maybe that's part of a bigger issue. Let's go around the league for a second, Mike, and discuss a couple of things that I saw. Giants and Lions played Thursday. Final score in that game, 14-3 for the Giants. The only headline I saw out of that game was Malik Neighbors, the wide receiver the Giants picked in the first round.
Okay.
He played 12 snaps, 0 targets. Now, that's what I want to discuss, because I understand you don't game plan for a preseason game, right? Maybe you plan for a couple plays, whatever. I think when you're dealing with a rookie wide receiver, like the Bills are in Keon Coleman,
sure,
I feel like you need to get them more involved than 0 targets. Keon Coleman got 1, maybe 2 targets yesterday. He ended with 1 reception. I don't like that. I get it's the first game. I get there's still time. I think you should be giving them a chance more. I like when they go for it on 4th down in a preseason game.
Like you said, it's preseason. You need to see what you have, and you need to test it to its limits. And how can you test something to its limits when you don't test it at all? 1, 2 plays. I mean, what's he supposed to be, a decoy? He's not proven, so how could he be a decoy out there?
Let me ask you this, Mike. Do you expect, after this performance, the Bills putting up 6 points, do you think Josh Allen's going to play against Pittsburgh next week?
I think he'll play. I think they don't have a choice but to play after the performance. I mean, like I said, I got to see the first 3 and out, and intermittently. He was
only out for one more drive.
One more after that. Okay, yeah. So I mean, it looked disorganized to me. There was a run in the game that was stuffed. The Bears looked uber prepared. They looked like they actually game planned. I think I heard somebody say that,
and maybe they did,
that they did game plan, or that they said that Josh said that they game planned and we didn't. When
you're dealing with a rookie quarterback and a brand new offense kind of thing, I think they have to game plan. Honestly, like that's where I'm coming from. Maybe it's wrong, maybe it's right. Doesn't really matter.
No, I can get behind that. I can see that. You gotta get them used to the speed of the NFL, and the quarterback position's arguably the most important.
It's going to be really interesting to see who makes this Bills team this year, and whether or not they're bringing in guys from other teams, other situations, when that's going to happen. Should be soon. Obviously, we only have a couple games left. Elsewhere around the league, Patriots win 17-3 against the Carolina Panthers. These scores are not what you need to be wary of, though, guys. Like, honestly, the scores don't matter. It's the performance of the young guys, the performance of the guys on the bubble of your roster. But we're going to keep going through these just because. Miami Dolphins win 20-13 against the Falcons. Houston beats Pittsburgh 20-12. Did you see Stephon Diggs and C.J. Stroud on the sideline?
I did not.
You got to go and look at it.
I did not.
It'll bring back memories.
They
for
look
you.
all chummy for a while.
No. It'll bring back memories for you. It was the opposite of chummy. He was talking to him. They were up 7-0, and Diggs was like in his face on the sideline. It was similar to that picture. Already. Preseason game number 1.
To a second-year guy. Come on, calm down, Steph, bud.
Eagles go on to beat the Ravens 16-13. Jets over Commanders 20-17. Bears we already discussed. Vikings over Raiders 24-23. I heard J.J. McCarthy looked really good in that one. Packers beat the Browns 23-10. Jags over Chiefs 26-13. Bucks beat the Bengals 17-14. Titans over Niners 17-13. That's how you know it's the preseason. And the Seahawks beat the Chargers 16-3 with the Saints gaining a victory over the Arizona Cardinals 16-14. Storylines across the league to watch out for. Juju Smith-Schuster cut from the New England Patriots after one disappointing season. I want you to study this drop-off, Mike. Listen to this. Ready? So 2017, Juju's drafted, catches 58 passes, 917 yards, 7 touchdowns. Solid rookie season, right?
Yeah.
Next year comes out, catches 111 balls, 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, makes a Pro Bowl. Looks like he's on the up and up. Right?
Sure, absolutely.
Then he goes down to 500 yards, 800 yards, 100 yards, which was obviously due to injury, 900 yards, and then last year down to 260, now looking for a team just to make the roster. If you can't make the Patriots roster, I am concerned of what roster you can make.
Yeah, with as bad as they've been, and I made a joke when we posted this on the page that the Bills will take them because we seem to be taking old washed up receivers right about now.
I think the Bills are going to release Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
You think so?
He dropped a wide open pass yesterday, at least one. He's dropped multiple in training camp, which I know we're not going to get crazy about training camp, but if your hands don't work, if all you have is speed, I don't want you. I'm sorry. I don't want a Kadarius Toney on the Buffalo Bills.
I was going to say, or maybe even, a Gabe Davis who drops him in important situations, but...
Yeah, but he catches the hard ones. It's like... The other storyline to look out for, if you're an NFL fan, Buffalo Bills fan, Kansas City Chiefs fan, Marquise Brown, the wide receiver that they traded for during the draft, I believe, or before that, suffered a sternoclavicular joint dislocation in Saturday's preseason game against the Jags. The first play, Mahomes, who was playing, looks to his right, fires, and he gets driven into the ground. Expected to miss sometime. Coach Andy Reid said, we'll see where it's at. Kind of going through it right now. We'll know more later on. So we'll see. But if they're missing him, that could obviously affect things. And it could not. It's Patrick Mahomes we're talking about. That's the only huge injury I saw. The Giants had a quarterback injury as well. It wasn't Daniel Jones.
See, if we're going with the theory that the league is scripted, it definitely doesn't matter because Mahomes is going to be the first to win 3 in a row. So
I hope not. I sincerely hope not. So going into this matchup, Bills and Steelers on Saturday, what do you want to see, Mike?
I want to see a whole lot of better effort from everybody on that whole team. I
like that word. I like that word choice there. Effort.
It just, from what I saw, it was pretty poor. It was reminiscent of the end of last season when the team just looked dead and depleted.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate to that. I want to see more from the rookies. I didn't get a chance to see the first part of the game due to your TV not working.
Thanks, NFL app. Thanks.
Bishop and Edwards are still out due to injury, and that's what I want to see, man. I need to know who's going to start next to Taylor Rapp, because if it's DeMar Hamlin, I'm concerned. If it's Mike Edwards, I'm concerned. If it's Cole Bishop, I'm concerned.
They've had Hamlin out there starting with him for a while. I don't think he's been that bad. I think your concern is it shouldn't be there. I think he's developing okay. Hot take.
I will counter your hot take with so many rebuttals, Michael.
Lay it on me.
It does not matter what team you're playing in the NFL.
Nope.
If your safety is Damar Hamlin and he's covering the back end on a team that has been reliant on safeties for calling the plays, calling the coverages, changing things during game time, and
but we're not. Our linebacker is the one who's the quarterbacking.
It doesn't matter. Our safeties have a lot of communication in our defense. They are very important. And if
he's been learning under two of the best. He's been learning under two of the best.
I understand that. I would rather have Cole Bishop back there.
Okay.
I would rather have Bishop. But even if it's any of those three, Mike, I don't care who wins. I'm nervous. Because if I'm the Arizona Cardinals, if I'm the New England Patriots, if I'm the New York Jets, I'm attacking that player. And it's going to work. It's going to work most of the time. We want to thank you guys for tuning into the Kellycast Season 2, Episode 2. If there's something you want us to talk about, let us know in the comments or on our Facebook page. That's at the Kellycast. If you want to find us on YouTube, which you already have, because that's where this video lives, that's at the Kellycast. And you can find us on Twitter at
the Kellycast.
Oh, look at that. Very simple. We make it easy for you guys. We'll be back talking Bills Steelers next week. And till then, take it easy.